Hi, everybody. So this is just a little teaser for the next presentation. This one actually is going to be more technical. In fact, quite different in the approach I take. It's more advanced in the sense that I refer to a lot of scientific papers, and there's the whole jargon of learning theory that will come into this. I think for some of you, the material will be somewhat familiar. For others, it will be all new, but this is where it gets interesting. If you follow the American behaviorist movement right now in animal training, you're told things that are actually not necessarily the full story. And what I'm going to do in this talk is talk to you about two things that have really modified learning theory in the last 60 years. And especially, I would say, arguably starting in the 70s and picking up in the 80s, 90s, etc. One is the influence of motivational theories. And two is the influence basically of neuroscience, of what we know about the brain. And interestingly, those two things are connected because a lot of what I'm going to tell you about how reinforcement works comes from neuroscience and comes from motivational theories. And there's a reason why the radical behaviorists, not the operational behaviorists, but the radical behaviorists, would not actually listen or pay attention to what neuroscience and motivational theories had to offer, because they intrinsically believe in two things that are problematic here. One, that mental processes are not relevant to the study of behavior. Well, that would take motivation out. Now, we know in modern science that you don't have learning if you don't have motivation. So you have to address motivation first. Second, they recognized there was a brain and the brain produced behavior, but again, they didn't think it was particularly relevant to the study of learning and behavior in general. So starting with those 2 points and basically saying, well, wait a minute, this is not exactly true. Let's look into the motivational theories and let's look into the neuroscience theories of reinforcement. That will give you a completely different idea of how those mechanisms actually work. Not just that, but on top of that, you will also notice that many of those studies that I'm talking about are not new, not even close to being new. They're actually fairly old theories. Some of them have been developed in the 70s, many in the 80s, and then it picks up from there, especially with neuroscience in the 90s, and on until recently. So hopefully you're going to be interested in what I have to say, but we'll talk about conditioned reinforcement, for instance, and we'll talk about partial reinforcement as well, just to give you two little sub-teasers. See you soon.